You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
Bring back that beat, DJ. All right, so welcome to the forecast. It's going to be the 3-cast tonight. Doc will not be on, but you got the 3 of us. We're going to come at you like we do every single time this Monday at 8:30 Central. And we got another great segment of On The Hog. This will be episode 3 of season 2, The Defiance. We'll be reviewing that tonight. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification bell if you're tuning in on YouTube. Also, if you haven't already, download the BS3 TV on Roku app. If you have a Roku TV or device, you'll find this show and the various of other shows. Also, make sure to subscribe to the End of the Bench Media. You can find the one and only H-Rap down below there, Queen Theory and King, and also we have a forecast page. So, again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We are excited to get into this next segment of High on the Hog, like I said, season 2, episode 3. Before we get into it, we're going to kind of go around the room. Wilkes, how you doing?
Doing good. Doing all right. Doing all right. Ready for this episode, of course. You know,
I know.
You know me.
Hey, and this is right up me and A-Trap's alley going to the AUC. So
yeah, man,
I'm definitely gonna be interested to hear some of your opinions. Absolutely. Love to have Doc on because they did mention something about military, so I wanted to get his take on it.
Right.
Hopefully he may jump in on the
maybe he can
chat if possible.
Throw in something in or something.
And A-Trap,
good, man. You know me, man.
Good to see you brothers as always,
man. Will's clean up.
Always good to be
here. Good to see you brothers every single Monday. This is kind of like the highlight. Great start off to the week, and then got the rest of the week. All right, let's get to the chat real quick. We got a couple of comments already. We got King Son in the building. He says, "Man, Lord, you on every day." You get that paper. Yeah, man, he is. For the most part, almost. Jungle Brother in the building with the Knicks. With the Knicks, Abby said, "Yo, A-Trap, bring the pain." And then we got Blue Streak in the building. Theodore Harper, thank you for tuning in. Love the Abby photo right there. And last thing I'll say in the chat is if you want to support BS3 Network, you can do it by sending stars on Facebook. Helps us continue to grow the network. We would greatly appreciate it if you want to donate and help us out. All right, so the next episode, which is a 4-part series. So believe it or not, we're almost done with this High on the Hog season 2, which I'm a little hurt and upset. But hey, they did their thing again. So we'll see if they possibly bring it around for season 3. But the Defiance, what'd you say?
This is infinite.
Yeah. I mean, even if you've already watched this, you can definitely go back and watch it again, and you'll learn something else because there's so much in-depth information. All right. So the next
because they can go on forever. It's always being added.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I mean, we got 50 states.
Right. And it's when we are in every last one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you go to South Dakota, we there too.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
We cold, but we there.
Yeah.
We bundled up, but we there.
We there.
Right.
You're gonna be there.
Yeah, man.
All right. So this next episode was The Defiance. Started off in Atlanta. So a little bit of background. I went to Morehouse, so I spent 4.5 years. If my dad will tell it, 4.5 years at Morehouse. So learning, this was a nice episode to see, and to see the history. I knew some of the history, obviously, going to Morehouse, but
Yeah.
learning that history of what was going on in AUC during that time, 1960. So felt like this was another powerful episode, and each episode on different levels is powerful for its own reason, whatever city that they're going to. So, A-Trap, kind of initial thoughts when you seen it was Atlanta. What was your thoughts when that was
Memory
painted over?
lane. Memory lane.
Yeah.
It's a lot of kicking it down the street,
Yeah.
down the street from that famous gentleman's club.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
Yep. Me
That's the first thing I said.
Yeah. Oh, that's around the corner.
Yeah.
Man, the A, man, when you look at the A, man, it's always, for our parents, DC was Chocolate City.
Right.
Yeah.
But you saw the transition. Think about it, man. I didn't even think about it. And it really hit home at the very beginning of this episode. If y'all remember, Let's Do It Again, when they were in the Masonic Temple, where they're lodge.
Oh, yes.
They showed that lodge in this episode.
Yeah. I thought that place, it looked familiar, even from the outside and on the inside.
I don't remember. Do you remember seeing that place while you were down there, Ben?
I don't remember that. No.
I've been there.
I don't remember that place either, but because you see from here. Yeah, man. It's. I will admit this. This is what I will say about On The Hog and about the city of Atlanta. Well, I would even say the entire state of Georgia. It feels different down there.
Yeah.
When you go to the A, you feel something in that town. And even when you in Macon or you go to
absolutely.
Well, Athens, and I remember the last time I was down there, we got lost. And I was very uncomfortable. Me, my homeboy Rodney, and my homeboy Stacy. And we got lost in East Atlanta. We were right outside East Atlanta. And we ran into a sundown town. And we had I had just bought this Blazer. And we were in my Blazer. And we were driving down this road, and I had never felt like this in my life. I could just feel pain.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we pulled up to a Phillips 76. It was very well lit, right? And this older guy, he had to be about 65, 70. And he looked at me. We locked. And when we locked, he looked at my plates. He said, "Oh, you're not from here." I said, "No." He said, that road right there that y'all just got off of, go to the fork and make it right. You'll be right where you want to go. And I jumped in the car. My boy Rodney was like, "Hey, I'm going to go get something to drink." I said, "You'll never live to drink."
Exactly. You hear what that man said?
Oh, they going to kill you when we leave.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we got to my cousin Chris' crib. And it took me a year to have that conversation with him. But Chris, we were just sitting because I had just hired him. We were sitting at the desk. And I was like, we were talking. And I said, "Yeah, man, I remember blah, blah, blah." Because we were going to switch cars that day. He's like, "Man, that's a slick ride." I said, "You want it?" He's like, nah, I keep it. And then I was like, "Yeah, remember that day?" He was like, "Yeah." And then short story short, he was like, "Man, I'm so glad I ain't take your car that day." I said, "Wow, what's up?" He was like, "Bruh, they just saw Georgia plates on your car. They killed you. They had just killed 2 guys." This is 2001. It was the 4th of July weekend, 2001. That was a good year. After the show, I'll tell y'all what, it was a good year, and it has nothing to do with the kick.
Yeah. Hey, I was there. I was there.
I
2001.
can imagine that activity is very rampant around the holiday like that, a big national holiday like that. Oh, I can imagine.
Get your boy.
Anthony. Anthony.
Bishop
I was
Deacon
going
Brian, praise the Lord.
Oh man.
Anthony.
What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, man, it definitely brought some nostalgia back. I mean, walking those streets, walking to and from class. We actually, so the AUC is comprised obviously of Morehouse, Spelman, Morris Brown, and Clark, Atlanta. Now, at Morehouse, basically you stay there. Me and my roommate stayed there for the first year, and then after that, it was kind of like a lottery system. And we end up actually staying at the ITC, which was like a theological seminary school. And I think they showed. I thought they showed it at one point in this. I'm not sure if I've seen it right, but that's where we stayed, and then we walked, to Morehouse, and so there was definitely a lot that brought back some memories here. Spending the amount of time I have. But Wilkes, I know you've been to Atlanta multiple times, so kind of give me your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like what like H-Rap was saying, just being there. I mean, the history of the civil rights movement and people that were the birthplace of, I mean, just the senators and the politicians that have come through there, as far as in the Black community, in the colleges. I mean, just the historic colleges that are there, and just the feel of the city. It feels kind of fast paced, like it's just. It's becoming a mecca of like just media and creation and design and art, and how some of especially with food, I mean, it's just steeped with some of the places where you're like, oh, well, go down here, make a left right here on Peachtree, Peachtree's right here, but it's just, oh man, the city is totally different. I mean, you just feel that vibe is there. I mean, and they know they got it. So it's like, just trying to keep that vibrant, and just being downtown, it's just, even in the downtown area right there, just walking that area and being and visiting there a few times, few of the restaurants. But yeah, I enjoy going there. I enjoy visiting, and because every time I go back, I say, oh, I need to eat here. Let's see what they got going on right here.
Right.
Hey, Wilkes, watch this. Jamal's.
Oh man. Yeah. Yep. Oh gosh.
Yeah, 3 or 4 dozen of those.
Man, that's a wrap right there. You can call it a day. Yeah, that's it.
And there's so many spots.
There's just too many.
So many spots. Quote unquote hole in the wall type spots, and there's also breakfast spots. I mean, whatever it is that you got to taste for.
Whatever it is,
vegan. That's where the whole slutty vegan thing got started.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it's not just a certain type of food. Yeah, definitely. Which we definitely gonna tap in on a few of those different foods that they showed.
I don't remember this, but maybe H-Rap and maybe Ben, you can chime in, but because I've never really, I guess, looked at if anybody had a map of the United States at that time, and like how significant, I'm sure how Georgia was significant in that Underground Railroad, like even up through, I mean, I feel like it was a significance there, but I mean, maybe H-Rap knows a little, or if there was a map, maybe detailing that, but
the closest you can get is the Green Book.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
The spots that you can stop at while you were driving, right?
That would be post Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be post that. So but you know what? I would assume like the Underground Railroad is more of a Maryland thing, because that's where Harriet was at.
Right, she was in Maryland, but I wonder how many maybe have traveled through. But you get, like I said, there was no way to really border. You didn't have, I guess you couldn't map that out. Like you said, it was more probably Virginia, Washington, Maryland.
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of people don't realize the Underground Railroad actually took you south towards Florida, because
it went deep. Yeah, it ran. Yeah.
It took you south because remember, a lot of that time, Florida wasn't a state.
Right. It was just it was a territory. It was a reservation.
You can get to Florida, then you get down to Miami, then you go to Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Bahamas, and you good.
Right, because you had somebody at those ports. You had, absolutely.
So a lot of people don't realize that it went south. You know what's funny? Hosea Williams, I know Ben know that name very well.
Yeah.
And his granddaughter embarrassed herself to no end on a TV show about 6-7 years ago. They asked, this is one of the greatest civil rights leaders of the state of Georgia, Wilson. And this dude is a plain legend, flat legend.
Yeah.
And his granddaughter asked, did you have to get tickets to the Underground Railroad?
Oh my God.
Cordell Stewart's wife, man.
Was she on? Was she on like one of the housewives asking that question? That's what I thought. It's like,
throw tomatoes at her. Boo you.
Throw a brick at her, man.
Come on, man.
What you doing, man?
Come on.
And it look like it hurt, Ben.
Look at yourself, man.
Come on, man. What you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah, and I mean, for her to be his daughter,
right? Like
it would be the equivalent of Dr. King's daughter saying, "I wonder if my daddy takes some sleeping pills for that dream."
For that dream. I wonder how long did he sleep to get that dream?
Right. He must have had a good night's sleep that night, you know.
Daddy, what woke you up?
Right.
You don't get out of here.
When I heard about that, I was like,
yeah. And you know, the funny thing is, there was a clip that had just come up again about that, and I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but when I saw it, I was like, not this lady again. I was for some reason it was on like YouTube. It was a clip, and I was like, oh, one of those the reels, the shorts. Like, great.
Yeah, hey, and that's gonna be circulating forever. The internet does not delete stuff.
It's a menace.
All right? That's why that Jordan crying meme is still going around today. That's why that surprise meme of that lady from how long ago that was is still circulating. So once you become a meme, it's it's forever.
One night become one. Well, then again, maybe events could become a meme.
It's a meme in a good way, and not you like falling down some stairs or something.
Hey, I'll tell you, man. Tune in. You might like what you see. And then it's over with the podcast. I mean, 10,000 people subscribe, man.
Right.
Hey. All right.
I'll play it.
Play it at the beginning. And that's what people do too on their social media. They'll put like guy that fell downstairs. In their bio, because that's the only reason why you know them.
Right.
Yeah.
They got some craziness going on.
So the biggest part of this episode was food for the movement, which they've talked about this in different episodes, but this had a bigger meeting because it talked about some black activists that went to Spelman and Morehouse and how they met at Pascal's, which is a restaurant there in Atlanta, which I've been there multiple times. My parents, whenever they would come to visit me in Atlanta while I was at school, that's where we would go. And so Pascal's, I want to pull up a photo real quick. Pascal's has a lot more significance than what I knew. And this is kind of an old photo. Obviously, they've upgraded it.
Yeah.
The chicken is amazing. If you have not been there and you
good.
live or visit in that area, you have to go there for the chicken.
You got to go to Pascal's.
You got to. It's a must for you. And then this is a photo. Oh, not that one. I thought I had a photo of the actual students, but
just that scene too was pretty. I mean, that's
that barbershop scene.
I mean, the barber scene. Yes, it's a part of our culture. I mean, that's an art form. You know, I mean, it's like he said, like she was saying, that those are safe places. The salons and barbershops. And, you know, when she was making that slab pie, like you moving that through a silent network, you know, and what better way to do that, you know, is through those places where information traveled, the cleaners, anything like that. It was big. And especially if it was black owned, like a tailor shop. I mean, that's information. Hey, if the Italians had it, if the Jewish people had it, I mean, if the Puerto Ricans had it too, I mean, you had to have a means of communication that was off that tight knit, that that safe area. Like, hey, run down to Papa Joe's or whatever, and let him know, hey, blah 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 blah, whatever the case was. It was just, you always had that, and that's one thing I guess when watching The Godfather, they had that. I mean, even watching American Gangster with Denzel Washington, it was just like, we're gonna open a tire shop, we're gonna open a whatever
cleaners.
Yeah. It was like, now of course his deal was different, but but it was still creating jobs. Now, even though they used that, maybe they laundering money back there, but they ain't none of my business. But you got me here working.
Well, to touch on that, Wilkes, a lot of people don't understand that the numbers runners, the drug dealers, and the pimps did a whole lot of financing for the movement.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
What's up, CJ?
Exactly, A-Trap.
Now, if you look below, while I have this
CJ.
up here, you look below Wilkes, that's the photo of the classmates right there. There was one other lady, I don't know if she's in that photo.
She's not there.
Not. But man, the stories that we're telling, which we're gonna touch on those, and the impact that they made, and they were 17, 18 years old. They were I'll say less than 21, because I think one of them might have been a junior at that time, possibly.
I think they all said they were freshmen or sophomore.
Like freshman or sophomore. So I mean, they're literally kids, and I think one of the biggest things, which we touch on quite a bit, is their parents and their grandparents. They felt like this was something we had to do for them, because they were more of the generation that kind of laid back, and they were saying their generation was more like, we're done. We're born into being an activist and a revolutionary, because we tired of seeing this going on, which coming full cycle, it's that again with this generation now. So it whatever has happened, it comes back around, whatever it is,
until you fix it.
Right, that's true. That's true.
Hey, I want to ask both of you guys this. At the end of King's death, which kind of ended the civil rights movement. Belafonte mentions that King says the biggest mistake he ever made was integrating his people into a burning house. What do you think would have happened had he lived? Because like we call these people, those three people in the right up on the Wilkes, we called them young at the time.
Right.
King was only 29, 30, because he died at 39. 9 years later.
I mean, and I think it would have been more of a joint effort between him, Malcolm X. I mean, I think it would have been bigger than
I think so
than what it was, and they would have bonded together instead of it being, you do it this way, I do it this way.
And I think
we've seen that. We've seen photos. We speculate, and we know that they were. I
think some deeper. Well, I don't know if that sounds right. I said some deeper change, but I think it just would have spearheaded a lot of different things. I think it would have pushed more probably for getting back to that, like we mentioned, building financial success in the Black community. It's like we've always said, and like Oprah would say, like, oh, I saw a woman on TV that looked like me, speaking profoundly and being, at the highest level of success. It's like, or like you said, and I think I told one of our coworkers this, Richard, he doesn't work there anymore, but it's kind of like, when you watch it, and I think we said it on here, when you watch an Ed Sullivan show and you see, a Black artist on there like Jackie Wilson, or you see people like that pop up, and you're like, man, he's on Johnny Carson, he's on the American Bandstand, whoever it is. It's just kind of like, man, wow, this is crazy. Flip Wilson is doing his thing, when you see that. And then of course the biggest one, it's kind of like when you just see, of course, different artists like Aretha Franklin is doing her thing, touring and then being an activist, at the same time. So and Stevie Wonder. You know, those figures are big. You know, you see them on at that time. I can't even imagine. That was probably like superhero status.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, he just, you know, it's Stevie Wonder. Now he's up there with Dr. Martin Luther King marching or whatever the case is, or putting on a fundraiser.
Yeah,
It's just kind of like, man, that I can't even imagine what that felt like at the time. That had to feel like you were truly overcoming at that moment. Like, man, we're gonna get our voices heard.
Do you think they would have stopped the integration?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now that I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they would have. I think they would have continued it, but you know, kind of realizing at the point where it's like kind of like a point of no return. I don't know if you could have pulled back.
Yeah, or
stop that train.
Yeah, because and honestly, like we always say, you know, if you just leave us alone, let us mind our business. You know, you can, and then just, you know, we have our close, tight knit, and then we wouldn't need that integration. Not that we're keeping you out of it, but we got this corner. You have your corner. We don't mind if you're respectful, enjoy this, but just if you just leave us alone, man, we can cultivate.
And that's why I asked, because Pascal's was rebuilt about 10 years ago, Ben.
Yeah.
So if just the Pascal's will be, I'm trying to think of a Roof Chris level, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think so.
If they live, what happens? Because you know, like the lady said, you got the tailors, you got the barbershops.
Yeah.
We never go that way. We never branch out. Because now Pascal's may be a chain restaurant.
Right. Yeah. I think
and the fact that we're meeting there,
those figureheads, seeing those figureheads would lead to, hey, we can get through this. We just need this corner of just let us do this, let us build here. No, I actually believe that. Man, it would just, because I think it's gonna spark that, hey, if he's doing it, she's doing it, they're showing us they can sit down at the table and still, you know, build and grow from this. I can't even imagine.
I think too, which they touched on this, when you have one person building something, that other artists who were becoming activists and chefs becoming activists, and you're just fueling the
now you're pouring money into it.
It's just going to continue to go. And there was one.
It truly becomes the Black Mecca at that moment.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's why I asked about the integration thing, because if this thing continue, like even to this day, man, I go to the barber shop today. I done bought a set of knives in the box.
Yeah.
Brand new, you know what I mean? Right. Look at everything out the barber shop.
Right.
They're going.
Hey, to H-Rap's point, how many times you been in the barbershop, somebody come in with the tape, the CD,
DVDs, man.
DVDs.
Man, you get Lion King 4. They ain't even made a Lion King 4.
They made Lion King for you.
Hey, how about this? When you used to go in there and they give you the movies, it'd be like 6 movies on one DVD.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And what better place to buy the wave grease or the gel or whatever than the barbershop. The dude who's cutting your hair is gonna sell you the stuff to help you with your hair.
Because they start getting it in bulks and bundles. Now it's not even just a barbershop anymore. Now it's a storefront. It's like what's that place that used to be here in Dallas? They're online now, but it's a shave. It's not a Dollar Shave Club, but it's a high end like shaving.
Bevel?
No, not Bevel. No. This is a company that was here in one of the malls. I can't think of it. Oh, The Art of Shaving is the name of it. So you could actually go into the Art of Shaving.
Okay, that's my alarm.
That's all good. You could actually go into the Art of Shaving, buy some product, and get a shave at the same time.
Yeah.
So just imagine if we had these black barbers that were selling the product,
Right.
and getting
Right.
and getting the shave and getting the
hey,
fade.
CJ, you're right, man. You can get a whole barbecue plate
That's
at the
what we
barbershop because the dude gonna be in the parking lot, man. And
And
when you
then
walk out that door, you can't just walk by and not buy a plate, man.
and if you take it another step, it's a place, if it's still right, which I don't know if it's still there, here in South Dallas. You could go get some catfish next door, or you get your car washed in between, or get you a link basket on the other side. But all that while you getting your car washed and getting some in the plate too. Come on, man.
You show you how, like I keep telling y'all, like Chicago is just a piece, Arkansas, Alabama, and Mississippi. 2 or 3 barbershops, like my man Twin, my man Ron, and my nephew cousin I had now. I've never seen anybody come in there that was just kind of strange.
Yeah.
But at Ron's joint and at Twin's joint, it's a cat that come in there, man.
Yeah.
And he be taking orders.
I believe it.
To his car.
To his car?
Yeah. With some of the most big look, put like this, dog. At first, I remember when I first started going to Ron's joint, I'm like, oh man, I'm not buying no green, no blue. And one of the barbers named Keith. Keith was like, B, I'm gonna buy you one. And man, it's chance that I don't even go get my hair cut. I just go sit in the shop and wait for money. All right, I'm out, y'all.
That's how
that
it
was
is.
the spot, man.
That's good. That's
and,
what it was,
and
man.
I loved in high school. I loved going to the barbershop, man, because I mean, you would just walk there after school. Normally, they got a vending machine in there. Normally, the guy's like, "Hey, man, you know, you're gonna be waiting there, so you're gonna talk to people. You're gonna see the people that you go to school with. You're gonna." Talk to different people, and it's gonna be the wait, and it's gonna be a wait because the barber gonna go outside. He gonna go talk for a minute. You about to go smoke a cigarette. Exactly.
Right.
Then he got to go to the store, and then he gonna come back.
Like a cigarette.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm telling you, because I don't think I've ever been to a black barber where, they sold the product out of the store, whether it was beard oil, whether it was. It wasn't like that. So I can imagine, like you said, if Dr. King and Brother Malcolm and all the others that were slain and had lived and continued.
They showed like John Lewis in this.
Yes, they did. They did. And it was just one of those things where it's like
Twin spot, Jimmy is gonna bring a pan of 100 wings. Man.
Right here, baby.
He said, "Yep, at good luck, some crackheads will try to wash your car." Say you some coochie clothing. And you about some Jordan in South Dallas.
I'm telling you, man, come on, man.
Like a Jordan gonna be doing a layup instead of dunking.
On Lamar Street, man. Right there. Lamar Street.
Big T was our man.
Yeah,
gosh.
I'm telling you, man, I think it would have been so much bigger than we could even fathom. They would have lived. Because they had so many ideas that Rustin, which we watched. I mean, they had so much, so many ideas that it was obviously
which affected these sit-ins in the boycott.
Yeah. So let's touch on the sit-in. So we have the 4 students, and they started to boycott and picketing. And one thing that I felt like was powerful was when they came into the room, it was like, look, if you can stand going to jail, what would they say, for 24 days, then come in the room. If you can't, then step out. I mean,
6 months.
I mean,
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was a long time.
It was a minute. Yeah, it was a hot minute. Yeah.
And if you can't do that, you need to step aside. Obviously, this is High on the Hog, which is centered around food. But when they touched on this portion of it, they had to have food when they got out of jail, which they went to Pascal's. They had to have food to kind of fuel them to do what they were doing.
Right.
And I felt like that moment was powerful. And I wanted to come to you, A-Trap, because we talk about passing those stories down. Like if they what they went through, if they didn't pass that down, if they didn't tell that story, we would have never known, because it wasn't I mean, they had newspaper, obviously, which one of the ladies talk about her mom seen her in the paper, but to be able to tell the story, and you hear the expression, you hear what they went through, even her getting burnt by the cigarette. So, talk about that, A-Trap.
Yeah. The process you're talking about is called a jolly and a domer. A jolly is more like me.
What's up, Rucker Park?
Yep.
Rucker.
A jolly, I consider myself a jolly, a dude who will tell a story. He passes stories down, and sometimes we add a little sauce to it to make the story look true. Instead of 24, like you said, instead of 24 days, this day was in there for 6 months, but this was actually in verse. But
we could add some stank on it. We could do that.
Oh yeah. We got a cousin named Kurt. The cousin named Kurt. He might have scored 6 points in the game. When it's through, when he's done, he scored 60. Man, and he ain't
like Steph Curry out there, man.
Right.
Right, man. But the story sounds so much better when Kurt tells it.
Yeah.
So, and that's a jolly. And a domer is a person who keeps pinpoint accurate story. I mean, Ben was born on this day. Wilson was born on this day. Rat was born on this day. I was born on this day. These are the things that happen, and that's what you're talking about, keeping these stories alive forever.
Right.
And it's more difficult to be a domer. And the reason it's more difficult to be a domer because a domer is sworn to the truth. His stories must be accurate. And it's this legend. I don't know how true it is, but it's a legend of a domer. And the domer is, let's say, these enslavers ran up on a domer. And he hid the woman. And they was like, "You see Susie?" And he was like, "No." And that saved that lady's life. But he's so dedicated to the truth that he stepped down as a domer because he cannot lie. So this is what brought those stories. Like those gentlemen, I would assume this is why they went straight to the source. Those 3 college students.
Oh, I'm sure.
Actual factuals. That's why I told the whole story, to get the actual truth, because it's easy for us to say, and then they start going to jail, and then Dr. King went to jail, and Dr. King got stabbed, and blah, 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 blah. But when you got bullet point,
And when you have people actually involved, like the lady that was walking next to Martin in the photo, I mean, there's no you would respect their account of the situation because they were there.
Absolutely.
They were soliciting Martin to get involved with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, how many times have I seen Eyes on the Prize or just snippets and clips of Dr. Martin Luther King? Who's the person in the background? Who's that person that's slightly to the left of him or to the right? Because, it's like, I know it's focused on, an iconic leader like himself, but it's like, man, what's that person's backstory? Right. And then fast forward later, somebody's doing a documentary and pointing that person out. Like, who's this escorting him or going with him, or who's that getting arrested with him? It's one of those things where you see those. And like I mentioned before, I have those ebony books downstairs. I have those volumes. And I mean, when I looked through those as a kid and just looked through those as an adult, it was like, man, I've seen these pictures, but they don't talk about who this person is. Right. Yeah, I get it. I know it's about Dr. King and the civil rights movement as a whole, but then you see documentaries today that are pulling those people out that were behind the scenes, if you will. It was like, it's good to hear their story because, like you said, they have lived on. Dr. King, unfortunately, was slain, but these people are carrying these stories, those experiences, and just being involved and close to him. So that's why, like, each meal that was prepared and made was so important, and the recipes that didn't get lost, because these were the recipes that sustained those late nights, the long hours. Some people didn't get to eat the next day because they got locked up or they got slain. They didn't come back.
They had to cherish every meal because honestly, they didn't know when they was going to eat next,
right?
Or if they was going to ever eat again.
Yeah, because I mean, nobody's stopping them from using brute force, blunt force.
Yeah.
I mean, You might fall. You may get arrested. You may be injured to the point of, unfortunately, you can't be with us out here, boots on the ground, as they say. You know,
Right.
it's just,
yeah.
It's
And let
crazy.
me pull up this photo of they're in Pascal's. So the way the story went is that the owner, which I believe is the guy at the head of the table, he said, "You guys can meet here, but you got to eat my chicken."
Yeah,
That was amazing marketing, but also he seen that there was a need. He could have said, "Nah, y'all can't meet here because y'all want to make my spot hot. You can't meet here." But he accepted it, and obviously you see Coretta Scott King, you see Martin Luther King, right there with Abernathy. You see some other people around the table. So and they were saying this is basically, if you think of mafia movies, this was the restaurant in Sopranos where they met. This is where they met. This is where, and even the owner of Pascal's was saying a lot of decisions was made here, which I 100% agree.
Which I can believe it. Yeah, I can believe it.
I mean, recently I was, just doing research for my show, and this guy mentioned how all the photos, they talk about how white supremacy creates a lie behind the civil rights movement, not in regards to orally, visually. They make you think the civil rights movement was 60, it was only 65, 70 years ago.
Yeah.
They make it seem like it was 120 years ago. And the way they do it is they give you all the Dr. King photos in black and white.
Right.
And he was like, y'all do realize that these colored TV was out during this point.
Right.
So why is it that we only see Dr. King? Like, I remember, this was a while ago, I was at the Post. Me and my man Chris, when I discovered that they wasn't that long ago, and I heard this story a little while ago, maybe 6-8 weeks ago. Me and my man Chris sitting at the desk one day, and we just talking like y'all be talking.
Yeah.
And I said, hey man, Dr. King wasn't dark skinned. He said, yes, he was. I said, no, he wasn't. I said, Dr. King about my complexion.
Yeah.
He said, man, get out of here. And I pulled up a picture. He said, no, that's the doctor. I said, no, dog. Wasn't a dark skinned dude. But they give you the impression, according to this guy, and it made sense. They give you these black and white photos, and they take you back to 100 years ago, making you think that was so long ago. Why would
Right. Yeah. Let's put it back up here.
Right.
You could. The lady that's next to him on the right looks a lot lighter.
Right.
But when you put it in black and white, you really can't get a good sense.
Yeah,
unless you watch that one clip that A-Trap speaks about, where he's talking about the bootstraps and talking about we coming in, we want our check.
Right.
That one is in color. That one is in color. He's like, I want my check. We want that money.
Right. We done. We done with the games. We done with the games.
Exactly.
Let me give a shout out to Overton Claiborne. Thank you for tuning in. He said, good evening, great show. We appreciate your support, man, as always. And real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, sheeralternatives.com. Make sure to go to the website. They sell all natural, black-owned company, veteran owned, and they sell all natural teeth products. You can go to the website, if you're in Dallas. They are at the Dallas Farmers Market every week, and let me show you some of the products here. They got toothpaste, they have mouthwash, and it's all natural ingredients, so it doesn't have any of the fluoride in it. It's 100% organic, and you can either scan that QR code or go to sharealternatives.com. I use the products myself. I know the owner, and he's a stand-up guy, and
I gotta order me some products, man.
Yeah, man, they put out some quality stuff that you don't have to worry about the bad aftertaste and
We're frozen.
So what's that?
I was saying, telling everybody to check it out. Oh, I'm sorry.
We're frozen online.
Oh, we good right here.
Yeah, I'm moving. I can see.
Oh, on my phone, we're frozen.
Oh, really?
On YouTube?
Yep.
Dang, YouTube.
Let me
YouTube
check
tripping,
real
man.
quick. But
Yeah, I don't ever have that open.
oh no, we good.
Okay, maybe it's just my phone. I got the Fisher Price, my first iPhone. Okay.
So I wanted to touch on the bean pies, man. I didn't know the importance. I knew where it came from, obviously, but I didn't get how you had to be in the movement to even get the recipe. This wasn't like a look it up online, the
Wasn't
bean
just out
pie
there.
recipe.
Yeah.
Nah, that ain't it. You had to be involved. And they Malika Jordan of MJ Pies and Chives, she was interviewed, and I felt like that was a huge moment because that was us making something that we wanted to make from our own ingredients, and it wasn't like they were saying, it wasn't that slave diet where it had to have the fattening in it, and that's where they interviewed the guy in the mosque that we were talking about. So real quick, I want to pull up this image and then I'll go to you, Wilkes, to kind of talk about it. But this is the image of Malika, and she's showing her ingredients. And so go check it out, man. We can support Black businesses. But MJ's Pies and Chives is in Atlanta. And one of the things that Satterfield said was, I can tell that you love this because you have a joy when you watch people eat your food. And Wooks, I know that's you, so I'm turning it over to you.
It's just something about that moment where it's like I don't have to taste it, I don't need to taste it, because it's one of those things where I want you to enjoy it, and I want you to be. And when you eat it, it's like you tell me if I need to tweak something, but I know when I'm making it, it's almost to the point of I'm trying to. I want you to enjoy something that doesn't have strings attached to it. We live in a society so much where we think and I get it. Yes, we feel like we're in debt and we have to pay people back all the time. But if I can cook something, and that's like when Doc asked me to cook, he's like, "How much I owe you?" You don't owe me anything, because or when I cook at work, it's like some people. My boss even asked me, "Did you eat anything?" No, I didn't even. I didn't eat, but I'm okay though. I don't need to eat because I don't mind giving that love and that time and that focus. I get my satisfaction from you getting full. And the Ben's heard me say this before. Yeah. You gonna eat at work like I eat at home.
Right.
And that's just like what I remember in my neighborhood. My grandmother, like I said, when she would make Christmas fudge with pecans or without pecans, and she's got tins. She would collect the tins that the candy and the chocolate would come in. I already know why she was saving those, because when the next holiday come around, she's telling me, "Hey, take this up to Miss Cole's house. Take this over here across the street." My grandmother wasn't asking for any payment. It was because that was what she was doing in the neighborhood. That was what she did. And they remembered that. I mean, people will remember those things, and they were like, "Oh man, I remember when your grandmother would blah blah blah, Sister Wilkes would," whatever the case was. But I knew my grandmother was in that kitchen laboring, because it was like, man, if I can just give this back, this could be at the centerpiece of a conversation. And in the middle of the conversation, man, who made these?
Right.
It's more of the enjoyment when I do it. I don't look for any kind of finances from it. It's just I enjoy cooking. I enjoy, like, when I touch a certain ingredient, I'm thinking about, man, I remember going to the farmer's market with my grandmother and her sister, my aunt, whatever, it's those things. I love it. I was like, I want to give those things and not have people worry about, oh, how much I owe you, or, oh, well, let me give you something. Like, you don't owe me anything. That's not why I did it. I didn't even do it for you to mention that I made it. I'm just doing it. It's just like, I made this. Right. Yeah. To me, it's like I'm not looking for anything in return when I do it. It's just I enjoy that, just doing those things and being in the kitchen. I mean, like I said, I can come home from work just like Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving. I already knew my head is in the kitchen before I got home. I'm thinking about this cake I'm about to put together. I'm thinking about these homemade dinner rolls I'm about to make from scratch. Like I'm not doing it because it's like, oh well, they'll mention my name when I do it or something. Like, no, I don't care about it. It's not for accolades. It's not for recognition. It's just because I love. So seeing her, like I could tell the smile on her face when he mentioned that is the smile on my face that I had, because it was like, that's the point right there, man. Now, of course, yes, she's getting paid for hers possibly, but or maybe it's non-profitable, I guess. But the thing is that she enjoys truly sharing these things, because we all know the bean pie gets bragged on all the damn time. Let's just be honest. The bean pie gets a hard rap.
Yeah.
I love them joints.
Hey, we had them street runners at Ledbetter and Langston, so it was one of those things where it's just like, man, I understood what she was talking about. I got that. I love doing that. I don't mind. I enjoy it. It's just the enjoyment of it.
Yeah, well, she's gonna make me cry. No, like it's just something you said. Use like the ingredients. Anytime I see carnation skim milk, the can of carnation milk, I think about my mom used to make that.
Absolutely. Eagle, matter of fact, Eagle brand milk.
Yeah.
Every time I think about that brand, that's the can, or carnation. Those are the two things that my grandmother reached for when she was making a certain dish or whatever.
Caramel cake for me.
Man, I mean, hey, whether lemon meringue, whatever it was, banana pudding, whatever it was, or even like I said, I mentioned earlier backstage, snapping beans at the table, smelling the rawness of black-eyed peas and red beans and kidney beans. That smell of like that, just as they always, the word now they like to use is earthy, but it's like I just, that takes me back to my childhood, because I love Saturday morning cartoons, but if I got a chance to go down to the farmers market, oh man, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Because the homeboy from the slice a piece of that watermelon, or he's from the let me try that honeycomb because it's raw honey.
Yeah.
Because I've never tasted raw honey, and then I get to chew on the wax cone. So it's just one of those things where it's like I enjoyed that stuff, man. Yeah. That's where I first saw black rice. That's why when I saw this last week, I was like mind blown, because I don't know where you can find black rice right now. I mean, unless maybe Amazon got their hands in everything, but I mean,
I don't even know if it's real.
Stores down there?
What's that?
Don't have any Afro markets.
We do, but I don't think. I mean, HRAP, we got so much down here. I'd have to explore more, because we've got one that I haven't been to yet. That's not too far from me. They may have it. I'm pretty sure they might.
Yeah,
but that's
that may be the one that's over by me. If that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, they may
a tattoo
about a tattoo place right there. Yeah. I haven't been in there yet, but I'm sure they can, because that's where I first saw black rice, was at the market, the farmers market. I mean, I've seen all kinds of fruits and vegetables, and I know I'm rambling, so forgive me, but I love that stuff, man. It's just, and I need to get back to that, because I was saying, like, somebody's got a market coming up next week, but it's the last one. And I'd love to try to make it. I think it's like from 8 a.m. to like 12. But I already know they're bringing the goods that they're growing or things that they've baked or made. Hey, I'm right there. I love it. I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy getting up early in the morning, getting to those markets. So just to see her face.
And we didn't really touch on last week's, but they had the watermelon guy that was selling the watermelon.
Yeah.
And he had different recipes with it.
Yeah, for the salads.
Different types. Which, I mean, that goes to just eating off of what God has provided, and not off of this GMO and the stuff that's made. And it's hard to not eat that because it's everywhere.
Right.
Literally.
And
you don't know what you're buying from day to day.
And to Ben's point, I mean, I know I probably took it to another level, but I was thinking about, like he said, this earth has cultivated us for years, for centuries. And I'm thinking, like, man, if the let's say, okay, let's take it back, as they say, the Wild Wild West, but let's take it back to, when you cross Indian territory or Native American territory, how did you heal that attack? If you got cut, if they were in battle, they had to have some kind of plant, dust, something.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they
had
had some form of healing. Yeah, I mean, you didn't have
and no band-aids.
right. You didn't have no camphor. You didn't
Dirt,
have
put some dirt
they say
on
monkey's blood, as we would say. It was like you didn't have no iodine. You didn't have any of that.
Gladiator, the movie Gladiator. Remember they packed it with blood.
That's right. With the mud. That's right, mud. Yeah, because the mud would dry over that part. So yeah, that makes sense. So it's just one of the right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, just think about how long they've preserved those things. We've gotten away, and I get it. Yes, we've gotten away from it, and then
aloe vera plant.
God, the aloe vera plant. But what you're not gonna do though with my grandmother's aloe vera plant? Don't pull off the biggest branch though. Get the small one. Don't pull off the big fat juicy one. Right. But yeah, because honestly, I didn't know why my grandmother drank aloe vera juice. It was the nastiest shit to me when I was growing up. It was just like, what is this? And now I'll have a spoonful of it, or I'll put it in my tea, because it's those things that wow, I didn't understand it then, but my grandmother and my grandfather kept that stuff in the refrigerator. They went to Ann's Health Food Store right there in Oak Cliff off of Zane. Shout out to the Ann's Health Food. But so those things definitely are always with me. So I love to see it. I love to talk about it.
I'm loving it.
Let me get to this comment here. Shaka says, Muslims who spoke about bean pie, I believe, are not members of the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because men and women will use Muhammad X or a Muslim last name. And then he says, I'm not knocking her at all or the segment. It's just I
can understand.
We appreciate all
comments. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For sure. Now, absolutely. And A-Trap, you want to touch on anything with the bean?
I was just feeling, like I said, man, Wilkes took me right back to my mama using that carnation milk.
I'm telling you, man.
Making that caramel cake, man. And remember the ingredients. Yeah. I don't care where I'm at. If somebody say carnation milk, I see red and white can.
Yeah.
I think
right there. You can picture it, man.
Yeah, man. It's
upside down, boiled.
Right. I'm telling you, man, that stuff is in my wheelhouse, man. And once again, that goes back to the Great Migration. Because it's one of those things where these things were taken from the South up north. Once again, let me just get to a place where I can flourish. Mm-hmm. I can get to a place where I can just like I said at work. I said at work, you the Tulsa Massacre, the Harlem, like the Great Fire of Harlem. Like, what else do you need? Like, I try to cultivate the land. I'm trying to make it for my family. You don't like that. Then you hate that you can't own me forever. So I become a sharecropper. Then you kick me out once they machine or industrialize picking cotton. Now you don't want me to take my stuff. I can't take anything with me. So once again, here I am. Like, what do you need? What do you want? But then when I start something, and like she said in this segment, oh, you told me it was just scraps, but you're taking it and making $100 plate out of it.
Wow, that was
we had it was chitlins. Now it's tripe.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Exactly. A poor man steak, the lobster, a crustacean, a bottom feeder.
Yeah.
Parsons. Like it was like you told me that was scrap. Now a damn lobster meal gonna cost you about $49, $50, $100.
Hell, even fried chicken. Like if you go to some places, fried chicken is $30, $50 a plate.
Right.
I'm like, why?
Right, because you set it on a bed of grits and melted some butter on it.
Right, exactly.
Babes, thing, man. It's funny that we're talking about this. I didn't even.
Babes, some shots at Babes real quick.
Yeah,
it's funny that we're talking about this because I didn't watch the episode until Sunday night, right? Last night.
Yeah.
But I went to this meeting at my church and I met the guy, Pastor Smith. I'm supposed to have him on rapping with H-Rap soon, maybe even Thursday. He told me to call him tomorrow, Wednesday, to find out. And he was talking about how his family used to smoke their own meat. He talked about how he can skin an animal.
Yeah.
He talked about all the stuff that he learned in Africa. And it's a spot about an hour south of Chicago, and it's this place called Kankakee. Kankakee County, Kankakee, Illinois.
Mm.
And he said that they have eggs for sale. They have so much, it's so much in abundance, so much of an abundance of it that they're giving it away. They have a black rodeo down there. And that's what Wilk was saying. Y'all kick us out of this. We migrate north, and then you still don't want to let us breathe.
Right. It's like, what else do you need from me? I mean, damn.
It's like they can't see any type of flourishing.
Right.
And let's be honest, it's jealousy.
Of
We
course
just do
is.
it better.
And that's
do it better. So
right.
You gotta steal it. That's the only way of one upping is stealing.
And I think that goes back to H-Rap point. Like he said, the integration. It's like if I integrate you, are you gonna work side by side, or are you gonna try to take it from me?
Yeah.
Because
you steal it and put your name on it. So
but I'm sure at that point, I guess when we would be greatly established and probably our own policing departments and things like that, and doctors, and which we, I think those communities will we grow like that and progress. Yeah. I mean, but damn, don't come over here tearing up shit and acting crazy.
Right.
It's like, I'm not over there. Yeah. It's just like, man, but what do you, I'm out here providing. What do you want, man?
Right.
Because you'll swear up and down your jobs are going somewhere, or nobody's providing, everybody's taking something. But I'm like, you're the last person to talk about taking something. What?
Right.
Or how about that? We'll stay over here with ours.
Right.
Over there with yours, and let's see who wins.
Right. See how that works.
Let's see how much you actually have.
Yeah.
You created and not stolen.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the last time I checked, you couldn't even grow rice.
Nah, you couldn't even bathe yourself.
Man, you didn't even know why you were sick. I had to come up with, not even a concoction. I had to come up with something that was passed down from generations before you drug us over here and to help you heal from that battle you just came back from.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what?
You was fighting, had the EBGs.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I had to help you with that gangrene that's getting out of control. Like what?
Right.
Like, come on, man. Stop, man.
But hey, I am looking forward to hooking up with this guy because he's supposed to introduce me to somebody who makes deer sausage.
Oh man.
Okay.
I've never had it.
Yeah.
Deer sausage is really good. So I hope they mix well. They should know, but yeah, it can be really boring, but the ingredients that you put with it can be amazing. And I remember my cousin, he would go hunting and he would bring my grandfather the back straps, or he would bring him the sausage. But man, they put a little fat in there because it was so lean. It's just like elk. Like elk is really boring, but you got to help it with that other flavor. But man, it's good eating. Especially I've had deer sausage and gumbo. I've had it over just red beans and rice, or just by itself on a hot dog.
Yeah, or you put it in some chili.
Put it in some chili. Yeah, turkey chili. Drop it in some turkey chili.
It was good.
Okay. Well, what's the taste that's familiar to it? Similar, I should say.
Nothing actually. Nothing really, because deer is its own. You can't say, oh man, this tastes like. You literally can't say it tastes like beef. You can't say it tastes like lamb. If Ben Googles something, it may do a better. What's that?
Would it be more like dark meat because the deer is just a muscle?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say, and if Ben looks it up, it may tell you. I would say and I don't think it's really gamey. I don't think it tastes really gamey. It's not. Some things are overly gamey, but it definitely has its own taste. It won't be like to the point of like, oh God, this is
Google it. It said like lamb. It tends itself well to minty, spicy, or autumn flavors.
Yeah, the one thing about game, they take well to like fruity. Like if you do ingredient, like if you were to, let's say you were to get if you got a fresh backstrap from the deer, if you were to marinate it, it takes well to things like fruity glazes, like mint, orange, citrus. I guess I should say lime, lemon, things like that, because that meat absorbs that.
Almost like a mushroom.
It's going to absorb what you put in it. Mushrooms have no flavor. So whatever you add to that mushroom is going to absorb that flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, this comment right here, Shaka said, I hate the pictures of black images of us eating watermelons and how sloppy we look. Now we're learning eating watermelons is one of the best fruits to eat
Yeah.
that has many health benefits. And that goes to the word plantation, which we talked about on the first.
Right.
It has that negative connotation, like watermelon and chicken has that negative connotation. But when we make it and to the point of watermelons, there's a lot of health benefits, like you said, to it.
Right.
And it really helps to cleanse your
And I think it's just
body.
about inflammation. Didn't it mention something about inflammation?
Yeah. I mean, that was the last episode. He was just breaking it down. There's so many health benefits to it that I think we don't even realize it.
Yeah, because it goes back to, like she said, you told me it was scraps, but then you're making $100 off of it.
Right.
You told me this watermelon was racist. You told me this chicken was racist, but now you're selling it for whatever. Or now you're mixing it in lemonades. You're putting it in soaps. I mean, shit. It's like,
right.
Or like you said, the word plantation. You've told me that word was so negative that I put a mental block in, and I want to remove myself.
You want to get away from it.
You want to get away from it. Owning the plantation home. Exactly. Oh, you would never think of it. Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Right. I mean, I want to pull up this. I want to pull up this photo of Georgia Gilmore. She was a chef turned activist, and man, her story was amazing. And they interviewed her, and it might have, I think it was an old clip, obviously.
Yeah, it was old.
Yeah.
But she had a restaurant called From Nowhere, which was an underground kitchen, and what they did is they helped fund the bus boycott. So they would sell, and that would pay the drivers basically to get the people to work. And I mean, I felt like her impact, and there's a lot of these stories again that we don't know, or that that hasn't been told. So that's why these types of films have to be made. That's why wrestling has to be made. I get it. We know Martin Luther King. We know Malcolm X. But like Wilk said, who's that person standing behind?
Right.
We don't know what impact they had. They could
have because like you said,
the nonviolent movement.
Right. So, and just real quick, I was gonna say, like you said, you hear the top of the story, but you don't hear what's below or behind.
It's layers.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, okay. Hey, like Rustin, I've never heard anybody talk about who orchestrated putting that together.
Yeah, you just knew it happened.
I just thought, it's Martin Luther King. Drop him in one place, they're gonna flock there. Yeah. No, you didn't realize it needed to be organized. You needed somebody over the chairs. You needed somebody over how to get the people bused there and get them out, and what restaurants were going to be willing to serve the people, or where we're going to have food after. It didn't dawn on me like that. Yeah. Because, like you said,
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like I said, it's like Martin Luther King. The way the way I've always seen Martin Luther King presented is that he was this dignitary, this figurehead, and people just flocked to where he was.
Yeah.
That's how I always saw it. But not realizing that he had help. He had people behind him. Yep. He had people lifting him up and putting him in those places, because they would say, if we put Martin on the face of this, the people will definitely show up and will come to it. Not thinking that, Martin Luther King did this all by himself. If I just say my name is on the ballot, boom, they're going to pop up. No, that's not the case.
Yeah, no.
It's not even the case.
No. And in a lot of the Afrocentric circles, they always mention that that's why they had to do everything they could to keep him and X apart, because King wasn't a mobilizer and X was an organizer. Right. So you put a mobilizer and and put them together, you have an unstoppable force.
Unstoppable. Yeah.
Right.
He had incorporated Muslim mosques, incorporated. There was another one. He had 3 businesses going before he was murdered. So just imagine, you got Malcolm coming, Martin coming aboard.
Right.
This is a scary situation for anybody, let alone a power structure that don't want you to have anything, as y'all said several times. The moment we look as if we're organizing, they want to destroy.
Right. and we've seen it in everything we pretty much reviewed that had to relate to that.
That black Messiah, they didn't want that.
We can't allow them. We can't allow them to organize. We can't allow them to keep feeding their own people. We can't keep allowing them to teach their own people finances, business.
We want the division,
right?
To this day, in the words of
to this day. Yeah,
Deontay Wilder. They still pushing it.
Yeah,
if they can just drop one little drop.
Hey, when that clock turned, when that calendar turned 2024, it's all it's pedal to the metal.
It's about to go. It's going. 2025 is the monster, man. I need y'all to look into that too.
Pedal that 2024 calendar heading into 2024. Oh gosh. Oh wow. This is going to be ridiculous. Oh, it's going to get crazy.
Project 2025. Please, man, both of y'all read into that. Yeah. And I'm going to show you how scary it is. Project2025.org is so scary that you only really need to read the preface.
Oh, I'm sure. I can. Yeah, trust me. I will be. Like, what? Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying.
They are literally trying to turn America into a monarchy.
The one they wanted to get away from originally.
Exactly.
The whole reason of the new land.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You forget that.
Stop. Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to touch on a couple of chefs that they mentioned. One was Cheryl Day. She's a baker, author. She's owner of Back in the Day Bakery in Savannah, Georgia. She's also the co-founder of Southern Restaurants for Racial Justice. And I'll see if I can get a photo of her, but this is kind of where this barbershop piece came in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're eating a pie in a container, and her bakery was across the street. Mm-hmm. So she came over and said, "Hey, I'm building this bakery's across the street. Here's some pies and cakes for you guys to enjoy. I'm here for the community." And the next thing you know, people coming across the street. Like that's us though, man. We build community, and to Wilkes's point, it's not because I want to be the millionaire baker, but it's because I want to feed you with the love that I have. I want to give you this for you to enjoy. Now, obviously, I mean, you got to make money to keep the doors open.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, but what she shared it first. She wouldn't charge it. You basically you got to allow people to sample the product. But if y'all wanted to touch on this, and she talked about the slab pie. I want Wilkes. I wanted you to
I remember
first time hearing that term. So
I remember the slab pie. Now, like I said, it could be more of a regional thing, and it may have drifted and migrated to areas because my grandmother didn't make them often, but she spoke of them, and they were, like he said, they were fast, especially for this situation. They were fast moving. You didn't have to sit there and wait for it to do too much baking, really, because it's on a flat sheet, inducted heat. Put another layer of dough on it, fill it with whatever you wanted to fill it with. Once it's done, slice it, pass it out. Now you can distribute it because you can put it out quick. Mm-hmm. So you weren't waiting for the middle to set. You weren't waiting for the outside to brown. It was just like all at one time, get it done, slice it up, get these people out on the front lines of the civil rights movement. So it was definitely a
microwave.
Right. So it was just one of those pies that my grandmother spoke about as far as just being a staple of. It was a form of just being mobile with it. Like you may have took that to, I don't know if you. She said when she had a slab pie as a young girl, she said it was more of like not a sit-in, but I can't think of what they called them at the church. But I can't think of the name now. But they would have these like overnight. I can't think of lock-ins.
I know that.
Yeah.
So so those lock-ins were there for how do we get the building fund? Those lock-ins were for how do we get the pastor what he needs and whatever the case was. So you had these meals once again that were easy, quick, to the point, and you're getting the people fed because as they're talking, you're laboring into the night. You're spending the night at these. You're tired, so you need.
You're gonna be hungry.
You're gonna be hungry.
You gotta eat.
Yeah, and you gotta eat definitely. So yeah, that's just like in Ruston. We saw food was a thing in Ruston. So I mean the grit where he talked about, hey, eat these grits, and Martin Luther King's like, hey, I don't eat nothing but my mama grits. He's like, trust me, eat these grits.
Eat these grits.
Yeah. So
I had the best grits in the world since my mama Reese.
What's that?
I had the best grits in the world since my mama Reese.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what it is about grits, boy.
My
we
wife
definitely have plenty of grits.
Love some grits, man.
Yeah, man. So those things are significant. That's why I said hearing those stories, and oh man, I matter of fact, I've got recipes down there that I could barely read because the way my grandmother wrote, I literally have to try to get them deciphered because if I show you this handwriting, you'll be like, what? I mean, it's crazy handwriting. I can follow some of them, but it's just her penmanship was ridiculous. So it's like,
and she maybe didn't even use them because she probably knew them.
No, I think that was honest. Once again,
that was for you,
right.
Once again, let me write.
Mom. Yeah.
How about this though? How about this? Maybe she purposely wrote them that way so you could add in the David.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Good point.
Yeah, this is true. I didn't think about it like that because I'm the one that I'm in possession of them right now, which I'll probably try to pull them out here if I have them down there nearby. I'll send some shots, but I sent them to my mom, and I'm like, "What is this? Like, what? But it's probably
that's what it is, man. Because they don't write down stuff. That was
right. And see, with my grandmother, exactly, and I'm pretty sure her writing it down was to just pass it down. But my grandmother could walk into that kitchen. And she's making a pie, it's just the pie crust is like it's nothing. So it's or cake. I mean, you didn't, and she wasn't tasting as she goes, with me, measuring in what it. Right. Yeah, it's one of those things that when I see those things, I'll have to take pictures.
Well, she was like my grandmother. This was her taste test. Here.
Yeah. Yes.
If you frown, you need to put some more of this in.
Yes. Do I need some more lemon juice or more chocolate? What do I need? Yes. H-Rap.
That was the best, man. To have that bowl, they're making a cake. To have that bowl, man, you just put the finger out in there, man.
That batter.
That was the best. And then you got to get out of that kitchen. Don't make my cake drop. Get out of my kitchen.
Right. Get out of my kitchen. There's people in here.
Hey, that's fighting words. If that cake drop,
it's over.
It's time. You going home. All right.
Your
time was over at grandma's. All right, you going home.
Yeah. Get out of my kitchen.
Right. So this is Cheryl Day right here in Savannah, Georgia. It looks like she got a coconut cake right there. Yeah. So I mean, she was really telling some impactful stories.
Yeah,
and all right. So the march for the AUC was on October 19th, 1960. And then they kind of go into, that was when Malcolm, the picture of Malcolm and one of the activists.
Yeah.
And they were so nervous, but they weren't nervous because what was going to happen to them. They were nervous because if their parents knew what they were doing.
Right.
I mean, and that's the ironic part. I mean, she got burned by a cigarette, but she was more so worried about if her mom seen her arm. She wasn't mad about the KKK.
Yeah, they were mad about the cause.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? That took me back to childhood. I mean, I bet you all three of us, and if Doc was here, he could attest to it as well.
Yeah.
How many of us ripped them pants? And you were laying there bleeding, and you didn't say, "Oh my God, I'm bleeding."
I'm not worried about the cut.
He was like, "Oh my God, I'm just pants up."
Like she said,
got a pair of pants that's at the bottom of a hamper somewhere. And we did for my mother.
Right. Because like she said, I didn't care. I wasn't thinking about how I should feel or what I felt. Yeah. I'm thinking about how I'm going to explain to my mom how I got to my mom.
Right.
Trust me, the H-Rap's point. How many times have I been cut, bit by something or got stung or knowing I should, or like you said, you got your shoes dirty, you got mud on you. Oh, I'm not worried about how I fell in the mud puddle. I'm more about the fact that I'm still in my good clothes in this mud.
Right, exactly. You in your Sunday clothes and your slacks outside playing.
Right.
Somebody push you down, and then them slacks got a hole in it.
That's it.
And them church shoes in them getting a hole in it. Yeah.
Because we're not going back to Levine's and getting some more pants.
Nah, man.
We're not going back.
I got a cut right here. I got it in 1976. I have never played with a knife since.
Told you it was sharp.
Don't play with that knife. Don't play with that knife. I was hit me. For real, I should have had like 2 stitches in this. Man, I stuffed that thing with so much toilet paper.
You gonna heal today.
Right. My mother never knew about it.
Yeah, man.
His mama almost wore gloves that day.
Right. It's because it's that fear that they put in you to appreciate the things, and you didn't because you didn't really. I was like, I'll be all right.
Hey, when they talk about the fear of God, that's what it was, man.
Yeah,
you didn't want to mess up at school. You didn't want to mess up away from them. And you better act right when you're away from me. All right, because I know I hear something. There's people always watching too.
Thank you.
Don't act like you don't think you're getting away with something.
Yeah, I'm not worried about. Yeah, I'm not worried about the situation I got caught in. I'm worried about the information getting back to where it's.
Yeah. Hey, this is how I got away with it. I used to like Ali. So I taped up some tissue and started playing like I was boxing, so it looked like my hands.
Oh man, yeah, Trump, man, I know, man. Yeah, it's like I'm not worried about the calls and the situation. It's the warden I got to answer when I get back home.
Right, exactly.
I put some pure corn on that thing on my own.
Right.
I'm probably about half game green.
Right. Any means necessary.
Right. We all got that scar. We all got that scar that didn't really heal.
Right.
So this is like soft skin right there. We all got that scar somewhere, man.
Every time I look at that left, and then I'm left-handed.
Oh, so it's noticeable.
Yeah. So we're gonna round it out here. The blue bomb. And this was so in that photo, basically they're getting ushered out into a car, a young lady and Martin Luther King, and I forgot what the other guy's name, but he was the organizer of this Atlanta University Center boycotting and marching. So they all end up going in, and so Robert F. Kennedy calls to get Martin Luther King out of jail. And this is politicians at its best. It was Richard Nixon and JFK, and they were like, "How can we get the black vote?" Which is what goes on
today
to the end of time.
Right.
So, what did they do? They got Martin Luther King out of jail. What did the black people do? They went to go vote for JFK, and that's how he got elected. So,
hello, Abraham Lincoln. Hello.
So, A-Trap, I was gonna come to you on this. I know this is.
I knew about this, and this is I've spoken about this on my show several times, in which and this tomorrow's show it ties right into it, and the title is "You Have No Friends, You Just Have Allies and Enemies."
Right.
And we have, I had someone reach out to me last week. And they were initially talked about the migrants here in Chicago. And then they started talking about the Democrats. And I'm like, you act like they're our friends.
Right, yeah.
They're not.
Right.
And this is, we never use them back. And that's the problem, We continue.
They know you're not.
Yeah. The thing that I used most recently was, if we're going to continue to interact with the Democrats the way we do, men, don't get mad when your old lady says, "Well, you should know." I said, that's the way we interact with Democrats.
Yeah, we expect them to read our minds.
Right. We expect, I elected you. Now do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
But you will put it on paper. A bunch of us then go down to the office. And it really disappoints me because Chicago is doing that very thing. Chicago has never, in the 50 plus years I've been living, we've never had a Republican mayor. We've never had a Republican anything in the state of Illinois outside of Big Jim Thompson was the mayor, was the governor, until he just said, I'm not enough. Since he left office, it's been that was like maybe early 80s, mid 80s. It's been a Democratic governor and a Democratic person in Chicago, Democrat, and now they're this young brother, Anthony. His name is Anthony Johnson. Yeah, Anthony Johnson. He's the mayor of Chicago now, and he's in charge of distributing those federal funds to the migrants. And every black person in Chicago is mad at him. Like he made Chicago a sanctuary city. Chicago was made a sanctuary city 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mayors ago. So that's 19.
Before he was even there. Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about 1971. That's when 3 mayors ago's father was the mayor. Richard J. Daley was the mayor, became a sanctuary city. Then you had Michael Belandy. Then you had Jane Byrne. Then you had Harold Washington. Then you had Richard Daley, his son. And then you had Rahm Emanuel, Lori Lightfoot, and then his young brother. And all the weight is falling on him because he's doing what was set in place 51 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we don't step up and say, hey, this is what we want. And this plays right into what we were saying. Hey, the Democrats saw opportunity. They saw we had a hero, free the hero, and they'll follow the hero.
Yep.
But then we don't even follow the footsteps of the hero and fought again. He said, okay, I'll give y'all the 1964 Voting Rights Act. Right. And King was like, no, we're going to need some more.
Yeah.
And then you got the 65 Civil Rights Act. And then you got the 68 Housing Act. King was always like, okay.
What's next? Yeah.
Okay,
right.
Now. And when he died, we went, okay, we can get jobs, we can get houses, and we can eat where we want to eat. Cool. But no, it was more. Make sure our schools stay intact. Make sure you're funding this. Make sure you're funding that. And we stopped. And now it looks as if they are not doing anything, but they're just doing the bare money. The Democratic Party is like that that wayward boyfriend or significant other. When I'm about to leave you. Well, wait a minute. Let me start cleaning up.
Yeah.
Let me go buy you a ring. Let me go buy you something. Yeah.
Let me go buy you something. Okay. And now, like I'm gonna say tomorrow.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't noticed in recent years. I don't remember any Republicans going into any predominantly black churches and black communities and standing before the congregation. They don't ever show that. It's always the Hillary Clintons going to Detroit or
every church I've been a part of, besides the one I'm at now, they were election time, they're there. They're like, we members of this church.
How long you been at that church?
Right.
A year.
Okay, well.
They ain't coming here.
they
ain't coming to this spot, man.
Nah, man.
We would usher them out. They ain't coming here.
Yeah.
But they come around. They like, we're members here. We come every week. It was like, we ain't never seen you,
right?
And then don't lie. You ain't gotta lie.
It's like, stop, man. So
it's time to start letting them in, and then you had the clerk at the church go. Like, cause I remember my previous church before the one I'm at now, Pastor Newsom, rest in peace. Pastor Newsom, there was this lady came in, she started making promises, and he literally said this in church. He said, "Okay, we keep a note of this, cause we gonna call your ass back."
Right. Because that's what they need.
Right. You need accountability.
Right.
Accountability.
Because,
say
like you
you're gonna do
said,
this? Yeah.
we don't use them back. We expect them to read our mind, and it's just like, okay, well, now that I voted you and put you in, handle business.
Yeah. All right, let's touch on a couple more things, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So you already talked about the Civil Rights Act, which that came. Now they talked about two chefs in Atlanta that I wanted to touch on real quick. One of them was Todd Richards, and he's of One Flew South, and he had a blueberry brine chicken. I have never seen that before, but I gotta get there to that spot. And it's a restaurant and sushi bar. And one of the things he said was, I'm making all of this other food, but what am I doing to make my ancestors' food famous and make that food good? And so that's how we got into the restaurant. And then the other one was Erica Council.
My girl, and I've made those biscuits many a times.
Yeah.
Bomb Biscuit
Company, and she has a book here as well. And man, those biscuits looked amazing.
I'm telling you,
she was dropping knowledge too.
Yeah,
she was preaching.
I've made a few of her recipes before, especially one that has the actual with the corn, the fresh it's nothing like cutting fresh corn from the cob and dropping it into that batter, that biscuit mix. Oh my gosh, it is, because the corn now, the corn has taken over the biscuit. Now it's become a naturally sweet biscuit.
Yeah.
It is like ridiculous. I was just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Now you finna put some jelly or some jam on, or whatever it is, some honey, whatever the case. I mean, hell, maybe if you dunk it in some milk, it's just really ridiculous. Right? It's just like, oh man, this is crazy.
Take it up another notch.
Yeah.
Eric
canceled.
So Steven Satterfield really didn't do a lot of talking in this. It was more so the people that were involved. Yeah, they told the story. Yeah. All he had to do was
a lot of eating though.
Oh yeah, he was eating.
Yeah.
He was like, man, this is good, man. This is good.
I ain't never seen him eat that much. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let me get another one. Hold on.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this was another great episode. So let's get to final thoughts on Mike rating. We're gonna go to A-Trap.
Again, man, great history, great people, great story, great food, great city. Bye. That was Siri. Shut up, Siri.
She agreed. She agreed. So I'm gonna remember this time. I'm gonna go, and then we could kick it to Wilkes to kind of close it out. But another great episode. The history, a lot of the things we've talked about on our shows is coming up in every single episode. And I think a couple things that was mentioned at the end, and this was Erica Council said this. She said, "Waking up in America is the act of resistance." And she was talking about during the 60s and 70s, but that's still today. That's still showing up. Still today. And then Steven Satterfield said, gentrification is a unique form of violence because it erases our culture. And I feel like that was another powerful quote.
And 1 second, Wilson, did you see where they put that highway right through where Lenox Mall is?
I saw that.
Yeah.
And they showed that. Just ran it right through there.
Yeah. And that's
just like with the Tulsa massacre, they ran that highway right through.
Yeah, there's water over cities.
Right.
In your town, there's probably water over cities.
Like y'all like rap music, so y'all hear the rappers in the West Coast say East Side and West Side, right?
Yeah.
They did that in the 405 freeway. They did that here with 9094. They broke up this part of town. It was super black. It's still pretty black. It's still predominantly black. Like I would say 90% black. It's called Bronzeville. And it's called a Dan Ryan or 9094. And that's what, that's where you take it to, you can take it to South. You take that one to Atlanta, take it to 57 and then over. And then, so it is a reoccurring theme. And Cool Sale, Ben.
Oh yeah.
He told me about this documentary that I watched, and it literally said the way they put those freeways. The reason the traffic is horrible in Atlanta is because they put the freeways there to discourage Black people from going to the other side of town.
Wow.
Everything's
got something behind it.
Yeah, discouragement, and I ain't no problem. We just could sit in traffic.
Cool.
We could be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there tomorrow.
Beep, beep.
We're on our way.
Yeah.
Hey,
we coming.
We a call from that house phone. We could be there in a couple hours.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna give it a 5. It just keeps getting better.
It's my favorite part of the show.
Wilkes.
Oh man, there's just so much here. Like I said earlier, just going to markets and fresh ingredients, smelling the smell of different beans and fruits and vegetables, things I didn't know as a kid. I didn't know what these things were called, but I knew they were put in the stews and soups and gumbos, and they were amazing. I've said it a lot before on here. I thank God for, and I actually mentioned this to my cousin. She's a lot older. She's in her 70s now, but I mentioned this. I was like, I would go back and do it all again, even knowing the death that will succumb to my family members, the cancer, the heart attacks, just old age, because it was just fun as a kid. I was fortunate to grow up and see that with the family reunions, the different desserts and sides and meats and things that were cooked, and of course you got to have a fish fry after you play a little softball or volleyball, because they're gonna talk trash.
Oh yeah.
But those things just take me back, man. I mean, watching my grandmother's sister make homemade ice cream out of the wooden churn. I mean, it's just
that bucket,
man. And the bucket, man. I'm A-Trap. Those things are for that stuff. Just, I mean, it literally is like a time traveling machine for me. Yeah. I mean,
food will do that to you too.
When Christmas and Thanksgiving hit, when I smelled that filling of pecan pie, that sweetness of that, I'm instantly thinking about the oven door that's falling off of our
right.
off of our Kenmore that's older than me, but it has sustained us. Like she said, that water sustained us. That water brought our people here. That water brought our food here. Yeah. That oven sustained us. That door, struggling with that oven door and propping it up, trying to get that dressing out of there, because don't drop my grandma's dressing.
Right. Put that 2x4 underneath there. Yeah,
come on, man. But in that crock pot that just looks like it had cooked 1,000 meals. That crock pot that has made cabbage greens, that has made hominy grit. I mean, just all kidney bean. I mean, it's those things take me back. The knob that's missing off the crock pot because it's that old,
right?
But it still works. Oh man, this is my lane, man. This is my stuff that just takes me back, man. And I know I run on and talk.
Nah, man.
I mean, to this day, I have a rolling pin, and I mentioned this before. It's my grandmother's rolling pin, and I remember when this rolling pin was burned, and it still has the burn mark on it. I have never tried to restore that rolling pin. I'll have to send a picture to the. I might post it on Facebook, but I'll send it to the chat. But that rolling pin, man, has rolled out many of pies, man. It has rolled out many of biscuits. Yeah. So I still have that rolling pin, but I mean, it's just one of those things where I enjoyed this. I have to give it a 5.
Mayhem in the kitchen Thursday.
It's just so much for me, man. It's a lot, man. And then hearing these stories about how, especially growing up in the church, but going to some of these older churches that were kind of dilapidated. They weren't mega churches. So I'm thinking about how these women were in these kitchens. Yeah. And they wasn't even in a church. They were just in some building somewhere, or maybe they were in a church down in the basement. And they're trying to, like you said, or at a restaurant, these ideas and plans and handshakes were made here for the civil rights movement to better us, to move us forward. And it's just one of those things where it's like those foods that are talked about, those recipes. I mean, think about it. I mean, besides other cultures around the world, but damn, the things that are here in the United States, vegetable and fruit wise, I mean, everything you think of, I mean, we had our hand in it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's those things like you said earlier. Somewhere like Ben always says, we're gonna find a way to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna find a way to move that thing forward, and food is definitely one of those things. Anything we watch, food is the biggest thing. I mean, it could be a comedy, it could be a drama, documentary. It could be even the comedy. What was the one we did out in California where it was like they had a slash restaurant in that comedy theater, but they didn't talk about the food. But the fact
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about with Guy Tori.
Yeah, with Guy Tori. But the fact that they were sitting down in a restaurant, part of the comedy theater. And you know how it is. You got to eat before you go get your laughs on, get a few drinks. Yeah. And even the cocktails from last episode, we had our hands in cocktails. Right. I mean, it's just we've just contributed.
Lemon pepper Lou, man. When you go to the strip club, man.
Lemon pepper Lou. Hey, all flats.
Wings.
Right. All flats.
Yeah. I always thought that was just too disgusting, man. I remember the first time I went into one of them joints. Yeah, they had food. I'm like, I don't want no coochie on my wings.
All flats, wet and dry.
I went into one of them and it was like, yeah, we got shrimp on Tuesdays. I'm like, nah, man. Y'all can't handle shrimp, man. Y'all doing chicken wings, chicken tenders? That's cool.
Right.
But
no,
you talking about shrimp?
I couldn't do it.
You ain't doing no salmon at Queen City, man.
Right.
Get out of here with that, man.
Get out of here, man. So yeah, no, it's just this thing is huge for me. When I saw season 2 was coming back, I was just, man, what are they going to give us now? What are they going to show us? And it's just so significant. I mean, gosh, I could talk about food and cooking and the significance and the memories I have with my family, and just cooking was a thing. I mean, even when he mentioned, they got excited about white tablecloth.
Yeah.
The man said they had white tablecloth. That stood out to me because my grandmother, when she passed, she was maybe she may have been in the early 70s, mid 70s. But my thing is, I wonder now why my grandmother had the things that she had, because they weren't always afforded to her, but she worked hard for those things. And like she always said, you can have those nice things, but are you within your means with those things? Because you can have them, you might not be paying your bill next week.
Right. Exactly.
But it's just one of those things where my grandmother appreciated nice things, but she wasn't going overboard with nice things. That wasn't her goal, but she wanted it to be appreciated, and she passed those things down. So, like, I still have some of her dishware actually downstairs. My mom has some of her dishware at the house. Of course, I shared that punch bowl with the gentleman. That punch bowl has seen many a weddings. It has seen many a funerals, many birthdays.
Man, that was the point.
Birthdays, graduations.
Punch bowl, graduation. That punch bowl, I'm telling you, man, that punch bowl, I'm surprised it's still surviving. I know it's old. It's got to be older than me. It's probably even older. It may be right there with my mom and my aunt, her sister. And it's glass, not that plastic stuff.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. It's glass.
I mean, for something glass, to just still be around, never been dropped. Hey, probably if you dropped it probably would have bounced.
I was gonna say it probably would have kind of rolled off
the floor.
Yeah,
right. Like a paperweight. Probably would have
put it's heavy. Yeah, it's a heavy beast.
Hey, make sure I talked to Justin about. I've been meaning to talk to y'all about. I talked to Justin Caraway about something the day after Thanksgiving. I need to include y'all.
Okay. All right, so it's a 5 round. We can go ahead and shut it down. We'll be back next week for the last episode, Feeding the Culture. And then the next 2 weeks, we got the holidays, so we'll probably take a 2-week break, and then we'll come back January 8th. But make sure to tune in next week. We definitely going to round it out. We got End of the Bench tomorrow, and we'll have Queen 3 and King tomorrow. Hopefully, depending on how Dark is feeling. But thank you everybody for tuning in. You want to go ahead and close us out, H-Rap?
Yeah, we'll be back when the week is new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and we'll have things that you want to talk about, and I will too. That's it.
Peace.
Thanks.